happened to the door skin on this Riviera? 63, 64, 65. Real wood. Bucket seats, console shift. Sonomatic AM radio. Riviera, not a GS, just a 401. I wonder if it's a 425. I guess the 401 was standard and the 425 was optional. Do not touch. Same as in my Skylark. 401. Missing a few valuable parts. Nylon cam gear for quiet operation. Single master cylinder. It's not a 65, those had clamshell headlights. This is a 63 or 4. Let's see if we can determine the year. Attached decal to left front door. Number of quarts used after filling with fluid and warm-up operating of transmission fluid may be needed to top up. Riverside, California. Maybe it had a rebuilt Super Jetaway. They didn't get the Turbo 400 until 65. Last year for this Bill Mitchell body style. First year for the Turbo Hydromatic 400, otherwise known as a 4L80E in the big trucks. Baby, I've had it! Enough of these dusty junkyards. Just dust and squeaky doors. This is a Cadillac door squeak. Whoa! Come on, baby! Wow! This is better than a Buick. Look at the rear view mirror. It's got lines in it. I've never seen that before.
I'm not looking.
It's got lines etched in the back.
We need to get going.
You had enough?
Well, I want to see some more. This is like
401 nail head.
Because the bolts are on the top, or?
No, the valves are upright. And the valves are very small. They call them nails instead of valves because they're so small.
Oh.
And the valve cover is set upright. Now, they had an aluminum engine. They had a Buick version and an Olds version. The Buick version of the 215 aluminum engine the guys put in the back of the Covairs, valve covers stand up. The Olds valve covers are that way. Different heads, same block or similar block. I'm not the expert.
So they put the valve covers up and down instead of sideways?
Well, it's just the design. It was made, what, 55 was the first year for the Buick 322? Up until 66, but the valves are small.
Well, this isn't the 401?
401, 425, 322, 364, 401, and the 425. Oh. But the valves are small. The valve covers stand upright, which is a distinction, how you tell that it's the Buick nailhead. Individual runners on the exhaust manifolds. Nailhead, small valves. Last year, 66. Oh. And this is a 63 or 4, because the 65 had the headlights in the Dagmars of the front fenders. Cadillac, 1966 or 67. My dad had one of these a long time ago. It's a 1967 Cadillac. Tilt telescopic. Cadillac style. Air conditioning. Drum brakes. Who cares if it can stop? As long as it can go with a 68 was the first year for the 472. Riviera. 68 was the first year. Last year for the 429 was 66, so maybe it was 67. Suburban. It's got the 8-lug wheels, but it has the full floater axle that has the rear axle bearing here instead of there. On the light duty one, you've got just a hollow hub here, like on your Monte Carlos.
Right. And
the bearing's there. You pull the axle, you take out the clip in the middle, take out the bolts, take out the pin, take out the clips, push the axle, take the clips, and the bearing is there, but it's much smaller. This is heavier duty. The bearing's right there. You remove these bolts and the axle slides right out and the bearing's right there. But it's heavier duty. Fords always use this. Chevy only uses it when you specify heavy duty rear axle. So the normal has a hollow like that in the middle.
Look at the bolts on that sucker.
Yep. So the 8-bolt rear axle could be a light duty, called a semi-floater, which is junk, or the full floater, which is this. You can service the bearings right there. All the big dump trucks use a heavy-duty axle. Service trucks. And the Suburban uses it when you specify heavy-duty rear axle.
Fuel injection.
Yeah, which is 87 or up, but they made this body style.
I guess.
No, not a 99.
91.
91. 88, 89, 91, 88. 80, 88, 89. I had a newer interior. This is a 454 gas guzzler. They redesigned the wiring harness, new interior. I got lots of those plates.
Black with a tan inside.
Tilt cruise. This is like what I brought home from San Diego, but this was a half ton that I brought back with a 350. 800 bucks. Oh, kind of nicer interior than the one that I brought back. The one I brought back, the interior was tired. I'm going to take this light switch. Chunk.
Hooked it right in.
Suburban. Look at the idler arm, how you. It's got 4 huge bolts and a tiny little pivot point. They wear all the time. They're always worn.
I bet.
To change the steering box, you have to
Take out the bolts.
You have to remove.
Lots of bolts.
To change this arm, either you put a bar down there and hammer on it and risk damaging the bearing here, or you remove the whole steering box to change that pivot. Had they put this pivot in the center link instead of in the steering arm, you change the center link, but they put the pivot, which wears. Look at that little pivot that turns all the steering. Dumb. And I got the emergency cable releases from Mrs. CW. Pop those off.
Too, right-hand drive. I could put the box over here on the outside of the frame and hook it up.
How about 2 steering wheels?
You can't find a Scout 2 power steering. They didn't make such a thing on right-hand drive. And 3 holes are there for the manual steering box, but no power. You could bolt this.
This steering box bolts on this side. The older one, the steering box is on the outside of the frame, and it's not boxed. The frame cracks. I have a reinforcement on mine. I put on a triangulation bracket.
Probably 3 big bolts put this on, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I see them.
And this was a 2 or 4-wheel drive.
Yep, 3 big bolts in the steering box, right on that frame.
This is what I always worry about on hers. They rust away, these.
I could adapt this to the
Oh,
Scout.
look at this. It's got a restrictor in the
I'm
heater
looking.
hose for the back.
I could put this on my Scout right-hand drive.
I've got a
for
lot of
power
those.
steering.
I got a lot of those steering boxes. They're dime a dozen.
These?
But this one bolts on this side.
Right.
The newer, the older one, the bolts are on this side.
You got any like this?
Maybe if you're nice to me.
Well,
2,500.
well, the Scout has, you have to monkey a Chrysler box on it with a piece of L on it.
Chrysler used GM steering boxes for many years. How do you like that? Whoa, ripped right through the frame.
See, this is flattened off right here. This would be perfect for the Scout.
Junk.
The one I got is round.
Jimmy. Bondo. Got some parts from Mrs. CW's Suburban. Jimmy. Padded dash, gone. Mud. Ravaged. Interesting. Caliper with a hose clamp on it. Caliper bolt. Oh, there's that hood. Under hood lamp. Should I get that? Don't have my tools. Left them in one of the cars. I hope someone doesn't walk by and say, "Ooh, look at that! Free $100 toolbox." Newer style. 89, 90, 91. Blazer. Junk. I think we already looked at the Suburban. Yep, we've been here, done that. Blazer.